50 must-know real estate facts about buyer agreements, all states. General concepts. A buyer representation agreement is a contract between a buyer and a broker agent. It establishes an agency relationship where the broker represents the buyer's best interests. In all states, these agreements must be in writing to be enforceable. The agreement defines the scope of representation, exclusive or non-exclusive. A buyer's agent owes fiduciary duties in all states: loyalty, confidentiality, obedience, disclosure, accounting, and reasonable care. The agreement specifies the broker's compensation, either commission or fee. Compensation may come from the seller, listing broker, or buyer, depending on the agreement. Buyers may still be responsible for commission if the seller or MLS doesn't provide one. Without an agreement, an agent may be a facilitator or subagent, not a true fiduciary. Buyer agreements protect both parties, the broker for payment, the buyer for proper representation. Types of buyer agreements. Exclusive right to represent: broker earns commission regardless of who finds the property. Exclusive agency buyer agreement: broker is paid unless the buyer finds the property themselves. Non-exclusive open agreement: buyer can work with multiple brokers, only the procuring cause broker earns commission. Net buyer agreement: rare and risky, broker keeps any amount below a set price as commission. Tenant representation agreement: broker represents a tenant seeking a lease. All agreements should include start and end dates for enforceability. Agreements can be limited in scope, specific property, location, or price range. Agreements can be revocable or non-revocable, depending on the terms. No end date may make the agreement unenforceable. Brokers may include a protection period clause: they get paid if the buyer closes shortly after expiration on a property they showed. Legal and regulatory requirements. Governed by state real estate license laws. Must comply with the statute of frauds. Contracts, including representation agreements, must be in writing. Fair Housing Act: broker cannot discriminate when representing buyers. Equal Credit Opportunity Act (ECOA) prevents bias in financing discussions. Disclosure requirements vary, but agency disclosure is mandatory in all states. Brokers must provide a consumer notice or disclosure of agency relationship at first substantive contact. Dual agency must be disclosed and agreed to in writing. Brokers cannot misrepresent the source of commission. Buyers cannot waive fair housing protections in the agreement. Brokers must retain copies of agreements, commonly 3-5 years, depending on the state. Fiduciary duties and buyer rights. Buyer's agent must always act in the buyer's best interest. Confidentiality continues even after the agreement ends. Brokers must disclose all material facts about properties. Brokers must present all offers promptly. Buyers have the right to cancel under certain conditions: breach, mutual agreement, or state rescission laws. Brokers cannot disclose a buyer's financial details without consent. Buyers may still owe commission if they cancel improperly. Buyer agreements help prevent procuring cause disputes between agents. Buyers have the right to negotiate terms of the agreement before signing. Brokers who breach fiduciary duties may lose the right to compensation. Compensation and procuring cause. Procuring cause determines which broker earns commission in disputes. MLS cooperation rules often dictate commission splits between buyer and listing brokers. If no MLS offer exists, the buyer may owe commission directly. The agreement must clearly state how the broker will be paid and by whom. Some states allow hourly fees or flat fees instead of commission. Termination of agreement. Agreements automatically terminate at the expiration date. They may terminate by mutual consent. They may terminate if either party breaches the contract. Death or bankruptcy of the broker or buyer terminates the agreement. Brokers may still collect commission during the protection period if the buyer purchases a property they were shown.